What is the Cybertruck doing over here? It's so wrong. It's so wrong! Update after the rocker arm nut replacement. I've put probably about 45, 50 miles on the car since putting that rocker arm nut back on, and it has not backed off yet. That's a significant improvement over the last one that only made it about 7 miles. So, yeah, I think we're doing good. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's happening here? Why is all this trim sitting up here on the roof? Well, I guess it is about time I start figuring out how to get this here windshield not to leak. So anyway, I went and bought a couple tools here so that way I can try to get the windshield trim all off and get this leaky windshield to where it doesn't leak anymore. Of course, I do have a couple scribes. Used to be a machinist after all, so that's why I have these. But these plastic tools here, plastic wedges and pry bars and whatnot, stuff that came from O'Reilly. And I'm making my way. I'm gonna have to replace a bunch of these little clips here because there's a couple that are just straight up rusted away. And yeah, I kind of need those to keep those on. I'm gonna get the rest of this trim pulled off real quick. There's other videos that'll show you how to do it. I'm not the one to show you because this is my first time doing it. Check back with y'all then. So got all the trim off of this. It's sitting up on the roof. Now, most of them up top, most of the little clips are intact. I did end up pulling one off, the little, you know, tit that sticks out that the clip holds on to. It just, you know, came off with the clip. But for the most part, the ones up top are good. The ones on the bottom are a different story. Most of them have just been rotted away, so I'm gonna have to get a bunch of these new clips. Now, one thing I noticed while getting this tore apart was that windshield's loose. Check this out. Check out this action. Watch this. Yeah, no wonder this thing has been leaking because it's moving quite a bit. I knew that every time it rained and I'd be like going down kind of a bumpy road, I could hear this rear windshield just moving around. It's kind of squeaking around. So I'm gonna have to take this all out, clean all that crap up, and just re-glue this windshield into place, which is something I've never done before. So I guess I get to learn that. And after all, it seems that this what this channel is most about is just me learning what in the world to do. So I thought that I was gonna have to do the whole wire trick to get all the glue off this thing, but I have two of these little dent pullers here that I stuck to the windshield, and whenever I pick up on this one, well, what do you know? It just pulls right off. I seriously just pulled this windshield plumb off. It has not been glued to the car the entire time I've had it. I guess I'm gonna just pull this back windshield plumb off of here and, I don't know, set it around the corner to wash it off. Yeah, no wonder this thing's just been rattling around the whole time I've had it. Ain't much left of that little clip. It'd be so much easier if the CB antenna wasn't here. Yeah, you see how easy that was? This thing wasn't even attached to the car. Holy cow, and I've been driving this thing around like this. All right, time to figure out how to get it plumb off of here. Check y'all later. So the windshield's all out, and I have all the gasket surface clean of the gasket. I did start scraping with, you know, my wire brushes and whatnot alongside this edge, and as you can see, I have indeed found a couple rust holes, just like I knew I would. Now the question is, do I try to repair stuff like this, that I know I could get some bead on there and get it to where it's sealed? Do I try to repair this stuff that'd be kind of hard to get off in there? How far do I go with this? You know, it's one of those things where it's like, I have it out. I have this piece out. I could take off these pieces of trim on both sides, whip out the welder and start getting all this stuff fixed up, or I could just slap it together and, you know, call it good. I think for this car, I'm probably going to try to fix some of this stuff up, at least a little bit. You know, it's not going to be perfect. I mean, come on, look at the rest of the car. It's not perfect, but it'll be better than it is currently. Man, what do you think of me practicing my arts and crafts? Got some paper out here. I'm using it to kind of trace out the line that I need. So I made a little patch piece. You can see on the end of that magnet for this section right here. I also went along and cut open all these holes where there's all this rust. So I'm going to make some more patch panels. So I'm installing a little bit of Chrysler in this Chevrolet because of course I am. This is actually out of the hood of the Scamp. Every bit of the metal that I'm going to use to replace this is coming from a section that I cut out of that hood. Here's the piece in question. Isn't it just wonderful? Believe me, I really like the fact that I'm putting Chrysler parts in my Chevrolet. So I'm getting ready to weld to this car for the very first time, something I've never done on this particular vehicle. Of course, I've done it to my Scamp and my Pinto over there, but never done it to this thing. So I'm just a guy. I'm not a body man. I'm still trying to figure all this thing out. But one tip that I got from a buddy of mine who is phenomenal, very talented body guy, is to put a little tiny gap. You could see that there's a gap between my little patch piece here and the metal I'm going to be welding to. So you want to put a gap in there that is roughly the same size as the diameter of your wire of your welder. Of course, I'm using the world's cheapest welder, but it should work just fine for this. I've used it in the past a couple times. As long as it'll, arc up and work, it'll work. So I had to go get a new welder because the other one was kind of giving up the ghost. And unfortunately, in the adventures of trying to get this and get a setup that'll work, because it uses a different plug than what the old welder did, so I had to go get another end for my extension cord. I also dropped my safety glasses on the ground. As you can see, the sun is now behind the house, making it to where I can't really see stuff very well. But I did get my first little bit of repair done. Not too bad considering I was still trying to get used to the welder. My second little bit is a lot better. You can probably barely even see it in the camera. But now it's time to get onto these big holes that I cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a piece of paper here to mark out with some pencil exactly where the hole needs to be. So what I did here is I shaded this all in with the pencil. I did stick it to the car with a magnet, and I'm just going to kind of come along here and rub like this, and you'll see a line is going to form. So that is how I am marking out where my cut lines need to be for my donor piece of metal. So I got the second little patch piece made up to where it fits as well as I can get it to. I am just kind of doing it with the bench grinder, so it's not fitting absolutely perfect, but it is ready to go ahead and start tacking into place. Soon, well, soon enough anyway, this car will have no rust holes in this section anyway. I must say that thus far I'm pretty impressed with this welder. The old welder would never do this high quality of welds, and this is high quality for me doing body work. I know how to gas weld. I don't know how to MIG weld or, whatever, flux core weld, stick weld, TIG weld, anything else. All I know how to do is gas weld, so this is pretty good for me, and I'm proud enough for it. It's going to be hidden behind all the trim clips and all the trim and everything, so the way that this looks really isn't that important, so it's good enough and I'm happy. The one downside to doing body work is that, look, it's already dark. It's winter time, so it's 5 o'clock and it's already dark, and I really didn't seem to get much done. I did get a couple holes filled up, so it's all good. The big holes are done. I do have a couple small pinholes I need to fill in. Then it's going to be kind of smooth it out, try to get the windshield put back in. It'll be a couple days before I get my clips in though, so what have you. Before I get to anything on the Impala, I do have to get to this Scamp, so tomorrow I'm actually gonna run over and give this thing an alignment finally, so you'll see that in a different video. I promise. I know it's dark, but there is a Scamp here. More progress has been had. So after going and get my Scamp aligned, and well, frankly I had to go take a drug test earlier today. Yay for the randoms, right? So I came back, I got the rest of the body work that I was gonna do done, and then I got my shipment of new window clips in for the trim. So all the trim clips are in. Now, if you recall, I did break off 2 of the little nubs that they go on. So one of them is right here. And you can see what I did was I took a number 6 40 thread screw with self-cutting threads on it. And then I brought it to my bench grinder with the good old-fashioned drill. Just chucked it up in the drill, and then I turned it down. Turn it down until this right here would clip in. So all my trim clips are in. This is all painted. It's not the best. It's just to sit there and protect all of the areas from getting rusty. Well, rustier. I did paint it all white. Part of this had been painted blue before, but I figured I'd go ahead and just make it body color. So while I'm waiting for this to dry, and I'm not going to put the windshield in until tomorrow because I want to make sure and have some help. Get it done right the first time, So what I'm going to do in the meantime is I actually have a set of 16x9 speakers that I'm going to see if I can't get mounted up in this car. Yay! So this is the 6x9 speaker that I was talking about. It's an old set of duals that, I've had lying around for years. My old man, he actually got these for me for Christmas one year for the Impala, and I just never put them in because the rear windshield leaked so bad that I was afraid that it was going to end up tearing these things up. Kind of coming around full circle, ain't it? with the windshield out to be repaired, it makes these things so much easier to fit in. I did pull one out a minute ago, test fit it. It's going to work out just fine, but I am going to need 2 people, so that way I could be inside the car in the trunk holding the speaker up while someone else screws it together. And unfortunately, Mr. Topaz can't help. Can you, cat? Look at him, he's ashamed. So it's the next day, and I'm actually getting ready to install these speakers into the car. I do have the, covers up here on the top. I do have to get in from the trunk to install the actual speakers. So my dad's home today. I'm going to have him be out here, turning the screwdriver, while I'm underneath getting the speakers held up into place, putting the little, nutser clips into it, so that way it can actually be sucked up into place. On a note, for how leaky that rear windshield was, this floor in this trunk is actually surprisingly intact. There's definitely, some scaly rust up here and rust down here in the quarters and whatnot. But for the most part, it's still intact. There's only a couple of rust holes, like right about where my finger's pointing here. There's a little small rust hole, and kind of like, off into here where the wheel wells connect to the floor. There's a little bit in here. As you can see, it's worse on the passenger side. But it's surprising how little rust is here. This is the rustiest car I have that runs and drives anyway. So, it's worse than the other cars, except for my Satellite has no trunk floor in it almost. But once the rear glass gets put into place, it'll be sealed, secured, and everything will be fine. So hopefully I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff at all again. I'm definitely glad to finally be doing this thing. Now, it's going to be kind of ugly to look through the windshield and see for a while, but oh well. Eventually I will come back in here and lay down some carpet or something. But that's not my biggest priority right now. This thing has much higher priorities than cosmetics. So the speakers are installed in the car thanks to help from my father. Now I'm getting on to cleaning up this back glass, getting it ready to go back in. So I did wash it off with the hose, kind of got all the, mating surface where it's going to have to seal to the car. I got that all clean. Now I'm just kind of wiping it off, getting ready to get all of this moisture off from washing it, and then it's going to be ready to hop back and get glued into the car. Well, the windshield's in. It went in pretty easily, I must say. There was these little pieces down here that kind of set your gap, and just align it side to side, press down until it gets ready to seal. So it's got to sit here and just kind of tack up for a little while. It'll take a minute before it's ready to go driving around. But while it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and install all of the trim, so that way it'll help to just kind of hold it in place. That's how you know it's done. I'm putting the CB antenna back on until I inevitably end up taking it off when the car gets repainted. There we go. So all the trim is back into place. This windshield is officially back in. Just got to wait a little bit for it to finish gluing into place. Good news! So the Sky decided to try to, rain on my parade, if you will, and really test out to see how this windshield is doing. So got in here a little bit earlier while it was still raining, looked around, and there is no water coming through this back glass into the cabin area of the car. So I'm about to pop this trunk and let's see what it's really like under there. All right, moment of truth. It's still wet. Not surprising though. I'm not surprised at all. So who knows what exactly I'm dealing with here. There's probably still microscopic leaks going around throughout this thing. But you know what? Honestly, for the most part, as long as it doesn't get into the cabin area, which I can tell it has not been leaking through that. So as long as it's not getting into the cabin area, that's my main concern. Well, last night there came quite the torrential downpour, so I came out here while it was actively raining, checked the back windshield, no leaks back there. But unfortunately, I did open the front and realize my seat was completely soaked. That being said, it's dry right now, but it was dripping from right up in this area. You can see there's an active drip going on. So she's still not 100% sealed, but I didn't touch the front, I only touched the back, so what do you expect? Out driving around, and these little drips right here did indeed drip down onto my leg. You can see kind of wet spots there. So this is what I've been dealing with for the entirety of my ownership of this car. So, now I come to this part of the video where I'm thinking, I need to end this. Yeah. I need to end this real bad. So, just to let y'all in on a little secret. This thing's not wanting to stop quite so well now, so... Yeah, that's not supposed to go that far. Nowhere near that far. It should only be able to go about right there and not there. So yeah, That's a problem. That's a problem that developed literally today. So yeah, that's what this car has in its future. And I'm not going to bore y'all with that. So with that, I hope y'all have a great time. And I guess, you know what I said once before, I think I'll say it again. Enjoy yourselves, just don't enjoy yourselves too much, because that may be a crime.